Have you always wondered how some people always get great deals on real estate? Stick with me, and today you're going to find out how. Oh my gosh.
You better get fired up.
Technical difficulties. That's the second time it's happened now. It's like getting caught with your pants down, man. So, how do people get great deals on homes, and how can you take advantage of some of those different strategies so you can get great deals on homes? First of all, I want to talk about something that is not a great deal, right? And people think it is. A lot of times you'll have a listing. Let's just say that they're asking $500,000, right? But if you were to look up what the actual value is by looking up comps, not the Zillow's estimate, right? The Zillow's estimate is a robot, and it's a great robot, and a lot of times it's pretty accurate, but a lot of times it's not accurate, right? And I'll give you a great example. Right now, with my home, I've updated a lot of things since I've purchased it. I've updated the roof. I've upgraded the roof, right? We've done some different things with our pool. We've done some different things with our garage, crown molding. A lot of things that are going to add value that Zillow does not know about. So because they don't know about it, they're automatically going to give me a value that's likely lower than what my property is actually worth, right? What it's looking at is what neighboring properties are selling for. What is the price per square foot that it's selling for? What upgrades do they have? So if you see a Zillow's estimate that says a property's worth 500 and they're asking 480, that does not necessarily mean you're getting a great deal, right? It means that either you're getting a great deal or the Zillow's estimate is off. What's the solution? The solution is you should have a realtor. You're already, listen, you're paying for the realtor, right? Whether you're paying a commission or whether you're not paying a commission, but it's because the seller's paying the commission. So now it's kind of in the price. Either way, you're either paying it or you're financing it. So you might as well put your realtor to work, right? Tell them when you buy a home, and very few buyers do this. I want to see a market analysis. Just like if I were to sell the home, tell me what this home is worth. So many buyers come in and they say, hey, the home is 500. Let's see if we can get a deal. Let's come in at 490. And then they get the home at 490 and they're like, oh, I got a sweet deal. Meanwhile, the home is worth 475, right? So did you really get a deal? Not necessarily. So do not, in my opinion, try to negotiate based off of what the list price is and how much you think you can negotiate. Base your offer off of the true value of the property, which again should be shown to you by that buyer's agent that you've hired, right? You're paying them. So make them do the work to do that. So that is what is not a deal. So you hear a lot of people say, oh, you got to meet George, man. George is amazing. I can't believe what he does with real estate. The other day he bought his house. It was asking 500 grand. He got it for 450. I can't believe the steal he got. Meanwhile, that property's worth 4.25, and he still paid $25,000 over, right? Now, don't let me steal George's thunder. Maybe George did find a $500,000 home and he did present a 450 offer and he did get it. That's all very plausible. But what I'm saying is when I look at the numbers on a lot of deals, it's very rare to get a deal like that because you've got other people submitting offers if it's a steal, right? If you could truly, like if that home truly was worth, let's say it was only worth 490 and it was overpriced at 500. You might not get offers at 500, but you're going to get offers at 490, 485. Nobody's going to accept an offer for 450, right? And even if the home is worth 450 and you're asking 500, 90% of the time, the listing agent has educated the seller on their value. And the seller said, I don't care. Let's list it at 500,000. So they know it's overpriced. And a lot of times, whether it's financial or it's ego or it's emotion or it's whatever, they're not going to take that big of a dip on price, right? So that's what I consider not to be a deal. So how do we get deals? And the way you get deals is you find homes that other buyers aren't going to be attracted to. Now, a lot of times people are going to say, well, that's not the home I want. I want the almost new construction or maybe new construction. I want it to have a 3rd bathroom instead of 2 bathrooms. I want that pool. I want that new roof. I want that fully fenced backyard. You want all the goodies, right? And why wouldn't you want those goodies? Of course you would want those goodies. But because you want them, a lot of other people want them. And that's what drives up the price. And that's what us as listing agents are telling sellers. Do this and this and this and this and this upgrade and paint this and clean this, and you'll get the most amount of money. And it happens. So the homes that will typically go for a deal compared to value, not compared to price, are the homes that have been sitting for a while, like 90 plus days on the market in this market. Now you can start to negotiate on their price, right? Again, you still want to look at the value. that $500,000 home could still be worth 475 after 90 days, and they just haven't dropped the price. Do not offer 480, 485, 490 unless you love the home and you're trying to overpay. But if you're trying to get a deal, that's the home that might get you a deal, right? Because they're overpriced. Nobody's bringing them an offer. Now you can come in at, say, 460. What are the odds of them accepting it? It's low, but that's where you're going to get somebody who's maybe a little bit more inclined to say yes, because they've been sitting there for 3+ months and they haven't gotten an offer, or at least they haven't gotten an offer that they've wanted to accept, right? So those people, again, and part of the reason, or I should say, sometimes these folks are sitting for a long time because they're bullheaded. They just, I'm not budging. I know I'm overpriced. I don't care. I love my home. Take it or leave it. So a lot of buyers think, well, this one's been on 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Of course they're going to accept my lowball offer. Not necessarily. That might be their problem, is they will not accept any lowball offers, right? And that's why they're there. But sometimes it does mean they'll take it. So those are homes where you'll at least have a shot. Is it a high shot? No, but you've got a shot at getting a deal if you're truly trying to get a deal, right? Another one is just a crappy house, right? It needs a lot of things fixed. It needs a new roof. It's got some ugly wallpaper. It has, I don't know, holes in the wall. There's light mold that can be remediated. You've got wood rot. That's going to, get a lot of the VA and FHA buyers out of there. At least it's going to be more challenging. Something ugly. It's got to be something ugly that turns off 80, 90% of buyers. And now when they look at it, they say, I'm not paying this. And because they're not paying it, if you will put in the sweat equity, right? And a lot of these things, A, you've got to have some cash, or you've at least got to think of how you're going to finance it, and it's still going to make sense for you. B, you're probably going to have to put in some sweat equity. And C, a lot of the aesthetic problems, if you're a first-time home buyer, eat it. And that's exactly what I'm going to tell my kids. Dude, go buy the crappiest house that's the sweetest deal. And yeah, it's going to have, peppermint pink and green wallpaper in your bathroom. Who cares? It's ugly. But you're a first-time home buyer. Go buy the doggone house, sell it 5 years later, make 50, 60, 70 grand, and now go buy a mid-level house. And then do the same thing with that. And in 5, 6, 7 years, sell that. And this time you're going to get 6 figures back, and your income will be higher, and your credit will be better. And now you can go get that dream house, right? But you've got to work up to it. So go buy that crap house, right? I do say, though, if you're short on cash, if cash is not your strength, don't go buy a crap house that needs a bunch of stuff now, right? Like a new roof, you've got to have a new roof. A new AC, you've got to have a new AC. Mold problems, you got to remediate the mold immediately, right? Instead, look for homes that have ugly carpet, stained carpet, carpet that's ripping, tile that's cracked, screens that are tore, just ugly paint, or I keep picking on wallpaper people, man. My audience is not going to be wallpaper people, I'll tell you that. Or when you look up the lights, this is so disgusting. You look up there and you see flies and dead bugs on the bottom of that bulb, right? And you're like, oh my God, what is that? Those are the homes that you want to buy, right? Now you want to do your math. Let's say that home, when you fix it all up, is going to be worth 500 grand. And let's say that all those things that you're going to want to do over time, but you can do them on your timeline. You can do them on your timeline because they're all aesthetic. They're not have tos, they're want tos. So you can do them when you want to, but let's say all those things are going to cost you 30 grand. Okay, so now you want to pay 470 instead of 5, right? But that's not really a deal, because you could go get the home that's just like that, but it's got all those upgrades and pay 500 grand for it. So you need to get it for maybe 450, 440, somewhere in that range. Now you get 20, 30 grand of equity because you're willing to do the work over time or invest the money or, whatever it is. But you're looking at a home now that is not attractive to 80, 90% of buyers. That buyer pool is smaller. Your competition is smaller. And now your odds of getting a deal on a property go up. Now, a lot of people are going to hear that and be like, ew, I don't want to do that. That's crazy, Joe. And I got it. But that's why you're not going to get a deal. You're going to pay market value. Maybe you get 5, 10 grand under if you're lucky, but you're not going to get a great deal if you're not willing to give up something, whether it's your time and submitting 100 offers and getting lucky, or whether it is your effort or your money in, revamping some of the things over time. You've got to give up something if you want to get. And if you don't want to give, then you've got to be okay paying full market value, right? God, there was something else I was going to add, but I can't think of it. CJ here got me all excited. He said, I got to get my license in PA. You rock, Joe. CJ, you rock, man. He's an old baseball card buddy. I'm a baseball card nerd. And so I got CJ, one of my baseball card buddies. But anyway, there's some ways to get deals, some ways to not get deals. But again, what I would say is really pay attention to the actual value of the property. Okay. Quit looking at your neighbor's house. I can't tell you how many times I go into a listing presentation and I'll say, hey, guys, your home is worth $475. And I'll start going through the comps and they're not even paying attention. They'll say, our neighbor's home sold for $5.25 last month. How is our home only worth $475? Well, your neighbor's home is a 2-story. It's got 600 more square feet. It's got a pool and you don't. It's got a new roof and you don't. It's got an updated kitchen. Yours hasn't been updated for 17 years. So it's a completely different. In fact, I didn't even look at it as a comp because it's a completely different home, right? So that effort in researching properties needs to happen by a professional before you put an offer in my opinion. All right. So just ask your realtor. They'll absolutely do it. And you should be there right with them when they do it. Just say, hey, I'd like to watch you do this research. I want to kind of see what you're seeing. And I would love it if you sat next to me. In fact, I always invite it when I'm with my buyers and sellers. Let's sit down. Let's do a market analysis. We'll find out what this property is worth right now. Right. And then when it comes down to the, okay, let's go to that ugly house again. Right. And I said, maybe you got $30,000 and stuff. You got to update, repair, whatever. You might not know what 30 grand is. Like, okay, is this 30 grand? Is it 10 grand? Is it 60 grand? I don't know. So number one, I would say find a realtor who knows those numbers. That's going to be extremely helpful. Number two, find a realtor who knows some vendors, right? A lot of times I either know the numbers from experience, or if I don't, I can get on the phone and I can start calling people while you're at the house looking at it. And I can say, hey, here's what we got. How much would this cost roughly? It'd probably be $5-6 grand. Okay, guys, just figure $6 grand, worst case scenario. Let me look up this. How much would this be? Oh, that'd be, probably 17, 18, 19,000. Do they want this or this? Oh, they want this. Okay, yeah, then that'd be on the lower end, probably about 17. All right, guys, so 17, maybe figure 18 just to be safe. Now you can start crunching those numbers, right? But really, if you're trying to get a deal, quit coming in 20 grand low, getting it accepted and thinking you're getting the deal. That may or may not be a deal, right? It feels good, fills your ego, but it may not be that you're getting a good deal. You still might be overpaying. So just check what the values are. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Guys, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Have an absolutely wonderful Friday and an even better weekend. Take care.